The goldfish is the world's most common freshwater aquarium fish. I learned that from Wikipedia. You may have heard that the goldfish has an absurdly short memory or attention span, but this is a myth. There have been dozens of experiments proving that goldfish can maintain associations with food over the course of several months. But why do I give a shit? Well, recently I stumbled upon a gold mine. Here, take a look at this Time article. You now have a shorter attention span than a goldfish. According to a new study from Microsoft, people now generally lose concentration after 8 seconds, highlighting the effects of an increasingly digitalized lifestyle on the brain. Yes, they are saying that computers and smartphones are shortening our attention span. According to Microsoft, our attention span was 12 seconds 15 years ago and is now only 8 seconds. Now, if we try and take a look at the Microsoft study, we won't find it. Microsoft has taken it down, but you can see where it was uploaded, advertising.microsoft.com. Now, I did do some digging and managed to track down the copy of this study, but the figures that the Time article is pulling isn't actually from Microsoft's own research. Microsoft cites another source called Statistic Brain. So, of course, we can go over there. And Statistic Brain seems like an otherwise genuine website. They have data about all kinds of things, but the data here on this page is some top shelf bullshit. Just look at this. Average attention span, 8.25 seconds. Average attention span of a goldfish, 9 seconds. What the fuck? Now, Statistic Brain gives some sources of its own, but fortunately, the BBC already contacted those groups to verify the data, and none of them could. So it seems pretty obvious what's going on here. I'm pretty sure Microsoft paid a pretty penny to somebody to post this data. Now, I'm not the first person to discover this, and I'm sure that the reason the study was taken down from Microsoft's website is because other people already have figured this out and given them shit for it. The question is, have our attention spans actually shrunk because of computing technology? Yeah, probably. But, here, listen to this.
I think one of the things that really separates us from the high primates is that we're tool builders. And I read a study that measured the efficiency of locomotion for various species on the planet. The condor used the least energy to move a kilometer. And humans came in with a rather unimpressive showing about a third of the way down the list. It was not too proud of a showing for the crown of creation. So that didn't look so good, but then somebody at Scientific American had the insight to test the efficiency of locomotion for a man on a bicycle. And a man on a bicycle, or a human on a bicycle, blew the condor away, completely off the top of the charts. And that's what a computer is to me. What a computer is to me is, it's the most remarkable tool that we've ever come up with. And it's the equivalent of a bicycle for our minds.
A bicycle for our fucking minds. That's got to be the best analogy I've ever heard. And these hand computers we carry around, there's no doubt they're changing humanity on all kinds of levels, but I just can't deal with the pessimism about it all. James Cameron, the writer and director of the first 2 Terminator films, did an AMA a few years ago, and he was asked, of course, if the machines are ever going to take over. And he replied, "You could argue that the machines have already taken over. Just look around at how many people are face down texting all the time." Come on, James. The way I see it, the 1980s tech boom was merely the first wave of the personal computer revolution, and currently we are in the second wave, with computers so small they've gone from our desktops to our pockets. Phones and tablets are general-purpose computers in much the same way that we've seen before. You can give an employee an iPad and they'll just as easily be able to calculate change, assign seats, place an order, or any of the numberless things that computers have been used for. And their processing power has been accelerating at an astonishing rate, way faster than their predecessors. A few months ago, a friend asked me what video games I've been playing, and I pulled out my phone to show him, and he stops and says, "No, I meant actual games. Doodle Jump and Temple Run may be bare bones, but let's look at the big boys over here. We got Minecraft, KOTOR, PUBG, Grand Theft Auto. There's also Final Fantasy VII, Limbo, Fortnite. Soon there's going to be RuneScape. This one here is my favorite. Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. And this isn't the shitty Game Boy version either. This is the full console version we grew up with. It's got all the levels, all the collectibles, and it runs on your phone. Fucking amazing. By 2020, I expect iPhones will have a terabyte of space in them and have the CPU and GPU equivalents of PlayStation 3s or better. I really wonder what Nintendo plans to do when we're able to play Skyrim or Fallout on our pocket computers. But I digress. Soon, we're going to see a third wave of the personal computer revolution, and it may be sooner than you think. This is the Microsoft HoloLens. It's an augmented reality headset. Unlike virtual reality headsets, it uses virtual elements as well as real ones. A user would wear this transparent screen which displays virtual things on top of what they're already seeing. And this space that combines virtual elements and real elements is called mixed reality. And mixed reality is the future. Now, the Microsoft HoloLens sucks. I mean, just look at it. It's ugly. But it actually reminds me of another product that sucked, the Apple Newton. These PDAs were around in the 90s, over 10 years before the iPhone was unveiled in 2007. I think the Newton is to smartphones what the HoloLens is to the future of wearable technology. A rough first attempt, if you will.
Take a member on your Newton. Beat up Martin. Bah!
At this point, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Google's attempt at smart glasses a few years ago, Google Glass, which promised great things but ultimately ended up embarrassing humanity at large. Anyways, Microsoft is not the only company that is pushing for this kind of technology. Apple, on the other side of Silicon Valley, recently released iOS 11, which contains ARKit, a augmented reality software development kit. As a result, the App Store has been flooded with AR apps that you can download and play with. And of course, they're all very early stage, and they just use the phone's camera, but these all show a lot of rich potential. I really like this one. It's called Launch 321, or maybe 321 Launch. It's not cool enough, I guess, that we can just watch rocket launches live over the internet. These people are trying to make it so that we can interact with them in 3D. What you're seeing here is just a demo, but you can actually watch rocket launches live through this app, virtually. At this point, though, these apps are very primitive. You still have to hold your phone and use the screen to see what the camera is looking at. 15 to 20 years from now, this technology is going to be a lot more refined and perfected, and we'll be wearing computerized glasses with or without a lens prescription. Just like the HoloLens now, we'll be looking through transparent screens that will transpose virtual objects on top of the real world. But there's no reason AR glasses couldn't double as VR glasses. Imagine being in a boring office and being able to just completely change your virtual environment and work wherever you want. Underwater, inside a volcano, in the sky perhaps. Workspaces in general will be completely overhauled by this. Remember, these are bicycles for our minds. We could have unlimited virtual screens wherever we wanted them, and eventually we'll be able to see other people's virtual screens within their mixed reality. This is what HoloLens is already trying to do. Not just have a single augmented reality environment, but have multiple users connected to the same sort of mixed reality so that they can all work and collaborate on virtual objects. Now, in almost every science fiction story, there are three-dimensional holograms, and we've always just kind of assumed that that's the natural progression of display technology, but based on our current understanding of how light works, holograms are impossible. You can't just stop a photon and have it emit from a single spot in space. No, Tupac doesn't count. That was an illusion. Now, in a future where there are as many people wearing AR glasses as there are carrying smartphones, we could easily have one shared mixed reality. Possibly the internet as we know it will just be this one massive global mixed reality that we all connect to. We could all see the same virtual objects transposed onto our glasses, and we will have essentially achieved holograms at that point. This mixed reality space will be useful for information display, it will be useful for advertising, and probably many, many more uses that we can't even think about yet. It will literally be like a virtual layer transposed on top of objective reality. Imagine how much will come to depend on that virtual layer. The idea of just unplugging for the day will have so much more severe implications and consequences. And imagine what this is going to do to our attention span. People are complaining about this now, but we're barely scratching the surface. My whole point here is that if we think smartphones are killing our attention span, think about what it's going to be like 10, 20 years from now. Our attention spans are going to be even worse. And the 70-year-olds that write these articles about how the new technology is driving our species to shit, I'm sure will have absolutely no regard for the things that we will be gaining from the bicycles of our minds. Thanks for watching.